Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. So, you guys know that Hasan guy? So, he made a video from like 6 hours ago titled, in all caps, by the way, "Slop Tubers keep trying to cancel me." In the thumbnail is himself, along with Asmongold and Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers. We'll take a look at some of that video, but first, let's take a look at the context ourselves of what led up to it, which is a recent incident that Hasan had over on Twitter. There's a bit more context too, though. I mean, aside from that incident, Hasan has seemingly been upset at Asmongold for quite a while, especially when Asmongold started covering political topics. This seems like what really set Hasan off, and he seems very insecure about the amount of views that Asmongold gets on his videos and viewers that tune into his live streams. And so over on Twitter, Mutahar tweeted this, saying, "The more I see of Twitch, the more I'm surprised how Amazon hasn't cracked down on its leadership at all. Ticking time bomb." That tweet being made on May 4th. Well, that single tweet seemed to have gotten Hasan's attention because he responded to it on May 7th, saying, "The platform he's on, YouTube, has a less strict application of TOS for political commentary. They literally have Nazis on there, and this MF is constantly chirping about Twitch because I am explaining why the Houthis are implementing a blockade against Israel's genocide." And so it's pretty funny that Hasan sees this tweet, instantly self-identifies with it, the tweet from Mutahar. Kind of like a self-report moment. But let's continue on because it definitely does not end there. Mutahar responds to Hasan and says, "I'm actually speaking about the glorification of terror groups. Something I know for a fact is not allowed under the YouTube Partnership Program, as I've assisted creators who were flagged for having ISIS jokes on their videos years ago. I'm not talking about political ideological extremes, that's a separate topic. I hope you know I'm not a right-wing Nazi, but I'm very much against promoting terror organizations using my religion as a shield to ruin our name in front of the world. You do a lot more than just explain. You endorse organizations that promote violence, bigotry, and the eradication of groups of people." Mutahar then also adding this tweet that says, "I didn't expect much in good faith from the champagne leftist Nepo baby, just to make it clear." And Hasan responds with this, saying, "Houthis and ISIS/Al-Qaeda are enemies, you oaf. The American government considers Cuba and DPRK to be terror states as well. You're crying about a ridiculous designation that Trump slapped on in 2020 to aid KSA in its deadly blockade. Biden overturned it, then put it back on to aid Israel." He continued, saying, "This would be like demanding I get banned for interviewing a Cuban doctor in Cuba after Marco Rubio tried to make Cuba's medical missions illegal. Cuba is also a designated A-state sponsor of terror. The entire point of 1A is so I can discuss these things freely. Dumb Canadian." And then Mutahar would respond once again, saying, "Do you think I'm using an American designation? Cute name calling, but I'm Canadian. My government and many others consider them to be a radical terror organization. The whole world isn't the US. There are many ridiculous designations, I agree. This specific designation has merit decided by numerous countries, even countries who aren't friendly with each other. Again, can this man have an honest discussion without name calling like a child?" Mutahar would then next apologize to his viewers and his followers on Twitter, saying, "I apologize for putting Hasan in your feed tonight. Sadly, I have to defend myself against certain people. Again, I don't engage with him in a drama fashion and haven't since I made a video several months ago. At this point, we don't have any path to reconciliation, and instead of wasting my time any further, I bid you guys a good night and will spend it with my loving family. I hope you can do the same tonight, Hasan." And also saying, "For a man to claim I'm nothing more than a dumb slop tuber, he sure loves to stoke more drama to sloppily upload to his, quote, clips industrial complex, unquote." I guess that's especially funny considering that this whole conversation would eventually become a video that Hasan would make, or I guess, talk about on stream, then the clips channel would turn into a video, or whatever the case may be, how that plays out. Because yeah, that takes us to a mere 5 hours ago now, where Mutahar said this, rent-free: "Hasan is the perfect definition of slot-producing, drama-chasing content creation, quote-unquote. You can try to pretend to be above it because you cover politics. Funny how Asmongold's side channel beat out the top political streamer in his category." Oh, there's no way he's just bringing that up. Like, he must know it's a sensitive thing for Hasan. Maybe it's coincidence and he's just like pointing that out, but I have a feeling he's like, he knows that's a a sore spot. That's the word I'm looking for, or the saying I'm looking for. So Nux would actually respond to this too, saying, translation, quote, my peers think I'm a freak for supporting terrorism, unquote. All right, that takes us to this video from Hasan from today, hours ago, titled, SlopTubers Keep Trying to Cancel Me.
If you want to understand the mentality of like the average person who doesn't understand politics, but the average, I'm going to dip my tippy toes into the realm of political discourse, look no further than this back and forth I have with Mutahar. Now, you might know Mutahar as the sweaty dude who talks about, I don't know, niche Reddit subcultures or the dark side of the internet, stuff like that. Well, Mutahar apparently has been also chirping about how dangerous it is that I'm doing commentary on this platform. The more I see of Twitch, the more I'm surprised how Amazon hasn't cracked down on its leadership at all. Ticking time bomb, okay? The understander of political discourse. Now, why is he saying that? He's saying that because he wants me to get banned and he wants to like get his audience to also get agitated and stressed out and push for me to get banned again, to get deplatformed again.
So yeah, I don't really keep up much with Hasan stuff at all, but to my understanding, he's never actually been deplatformed. So like, what is bro talking about here? Dude's literally got a massive corporation, Amazon, Twitch through Amazon, that essentially defends him, that takes his side, that lets him constantly get away with stuff. And in this case, Mutahar wasn't even actually directly commenting on something that Hasan even said. It's like I mentioned way back at the beginning of the video when we read that tweet, which you can see once again on screen. Mutahar simply said, the more I see of Twitch, the more I'm surprised how Amazon hasn't cracked down on its leadership at all, taking time bomb. And it's Hasan who self-identified with this and like self-reported himself there. Now, if you want to say this was clearly implied to be about Hasan though, fair enough. I'm not going to argue against that even. Here's the thing. For a long time, Twitch has been notorious for their selective moderation. They'll go after some people for some things and then not go after other people for other things that arguably are much worse things. And in some cases, not only do they not go after those people, they actually promote them. And so it's pretty common discourse to criticize Twitch for their selective moderation, and therefore also for people to be curious about Amazon.
Constantly chirping about Twitch because I'm explaining why the Houthis are implementing a blockade against Israel's genocide. Then he replied to that and said, I'm actually speaking about the glorification of terror groups, something I know for a fact isn't allowed under the YPP, as I've assisted creators who were flagged for having ISIS jokes on their videos years ago. First of all, this doesn't mean you're knowledgeable about any kind of politics whatsoever. And this also doesn't mean you're knowledgeable about geopolitics. It doesn't mean you're knowledgeable about anything. This just means that under the YPP, you've assisted creators who were flagged for having ISIS jokes. It's completely outside of the realm of what the we're talking about.
This guy is so politically brain rotted that he doesn't realize he just described himself talking about things that are outside the realm of what they're talking about, trying to be dismissive of said things. This whole conversation started because once again, Mutahar said, the more I see of Twitch, the more I'm surprised how Amazon hasn't cracked down on its leadership at all. This was a discussion to begin with about terms of service, and then Mutahar bringing up the YouTube partnership program. This was not a discussion first off about like, oh, I know more about politics than you do. Hasan's the one trying to like turn it into that.
I didn't expect much good faith from the champagne leftist Nepo baby, just to be clear. To which I responded with, Houthis and ISIS / Al-Qaeda are enemies, you oaf.
I like how both on Twitter and in his live stream response, he's got nothing to say about the whole Nepo baby thing. And so this next thing about to say, like, I'm really not trying to be rude. I don't watch a lot of Hasan. I don't know if he always talks like this, but I'm going to skip ahead in this video now and see if there's anything else interesting because he like listening to him is really giving me a headache. Something about the way he's talking really reminds me of how someone may talk when they're drunk and slurring their speech together. And that combined with the like edits that's like cutting to the next part of what he's saying, it's like, man, it's kind of jarring to listen to a little bit.
I remember when these types of anti-SJW slop commentary YouTubers were pro-free speech. Now they're pro-censorship social justice warriors for Israel.
That tweet is so crazy, and it's hilarious that Hasan sees that, seems to think it's a good take. It's like giving it a like and everything. But look, I'm going to defend Hasan a little bit here. I think I figured it out. When he's reading these tweets, that's when he's like slurring stuff together, at least in my opinion. I'm not saying he's like completely sounds like someone who's wasted, like sloshed drunk. I'm just saying that's what it like reminds me of a little bit. To his credit, when he's just speaking normally, it's a lot better in my opinion. So thankfully, the next part of this video, he's not reading anything. He's just commenting. Although that said, he does begin to have a crash out here. So there is that.
Like, this is my job. I don't go to your job. I don't go tell you what to do with a Steam Deck. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to tweet constantly about like Mutahar's Steam Deck reviews are ass, he doesn't understand how to operate Linux or whatever, everyone would make fun of me. Everyone would be like, dude, what the are you talking about? You don't know anything. Shut the up. Stay in your own goddamn lane politics, man. But when it comes to politics, you can just lean on the stupidity of the audience and just directly yell at a guy who knows more than you do while in the process of demonstrating your idiocy.
Didn't Hasan just get called out for doing that same thing, though? Like I mentioned earlier with the lack of self-awareness moment where he seemed to have, in my opinion at least, described himself. This is another time where he seems to be doing just that. Now let me preface this next part by saying I really don't keep up with H3 and Hasan, like whatever the heck happened there. I've seen maybe like 5 minutes of whatever that was all about. But I do recall one thing in particular from the very brief portion that I watched, in which Hasan was trying to say that H3 is obsessed with him. And H3 went on to show, and say, though, that it's actually not the case. And when you take a look at the evidence, it seems like the inverse is true, and that Hasan is, in fact, obsessed with him. And here's the part that I'm talking about. And the reason I'm showing this, of course, is because it reminds me of what Hasan just said here.
Actually, this segues perfectly. You claim I'm obsessed with you. That's
Okay.
part of the narrative, right?
That's not
This
just
is
me claiming that, Ethan. I think at this point, a lot of people see it, right?
Very good. Well, let's see. Ugh, God damn it. Well, I got to refresh this. So here's an example from one of these clip channels. These are all different clips, right? Over a 2-month period, there's edited down 24 hours of you talking about me. 24 hours. That's over the.
These are most likely.
Hold on.
These are fan channels.
Let me. Over
These are
60-day
fan
period.
channels. This
That's
is
24 minutes per day.
Ethan, these are fan channels. This
Right.
is disingenuous. You're
Right.
presenting the same. You're presenting.
Okay, first of
fan
all, I'm
channels
just
that are
showing how much you talk
posting-
about me on stream. Second of all, that the fan channel
Ethan,
defense is
Ethan.
let me finish. The fan channel thing is a clever part of your disinformation campaign to avoid any responsibility. And the fact is, if I wanted to show all your fan channels, this is how many fucking videos was uploaded about me in the last 22 days. You think that's regular? You think that's regular?
Ethan, I have no
Who's
control over
obsessed
my
with
fan
who?
channels. What do you mean? You're literally showing the same. I say one thing on
66
on my Twitch
videos
stream.
about me.
Finding that clip jogged my memory. I think I was familiar with that because I believe Asmongold commented on it. I think it was uploaded on one of his channels or something, so I saw him talking about it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much enough internet brain rot for me today. Now I'm going to go play some good old Rivals. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think about this, though. Hopefully you found this segment to be entertaining. If you enjoyed my coverage, please also consider liking and or subscribing. Oh, and also, if you're interested in some Twitter stuff, please consider checking out the pinned comment of this video. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next one.